Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Talk. This is a show where we discuss the week in Humboldt, the local issues, and the local personalities with the local personalities. I'm Talvi and I'll be your local host for the next hour. The first ever College of the Redwoods rodeo team is taking shape, with the team recently announcing 4 more recruits. Both College of the Redwoods and Cal Poly Humboldt announced last July that each school will be launching a new rodeo program, a plan that has been in the works since 2019. What does the rodeo scene on the North Coast look like? What even is a rodeo for those of us who grew up in cities? And what do colleges bring to the table for a rodeo team? Here to talk about the College of the Redwoods program are the coaches Kelly O'Day and Gianna O'Day, as well as Bob Brown, the College of the Redwoods athletic director. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you to thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being here. For those listening live on KZZH 96.7 FM, if you have any questions, feel free to text them. That's right, text them to 707 498 4146. Again, that's 707 498 4146. So, rodeo has been huge in Humboldt County and across the US for a very, very long time. Though I want to start off with, let's start off with the most basic of all questions. What is rodeo?
You want me to take it, G?
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So it is a competition, and it usually revolves around 7 to 8 different events. So when the show actually gets presented to an audience, right? The part that you're actually selling tickets for, they try to keep it to only 10 to 12 competitors in each of those events. Obviously, one of the most popular of all time would be bull riding. I think everybody in America has heard of that event, right? And associates that with rodeo. So that is going to be one of the 7 to 8 events that you see when you go to a rodeo. 10 to 12 people per performance per night, are going to compete. Um, and so I think sometimes people get confused of it being like a show. Yeah, there's obviously a show aspect to it, but it is just as much of a competition as any like sporting event that you're gonna see. There is a winner, there's a second place, a third place, so on and so forth. And yeah.
Yeah, and there's rough stock events and timed events. And so, like I was saying, the bull riding, it's a competition. It's a judged competition, and the rough stock events are all judged. But you have to basically stay on the bull for 8 seconds. And same goes for the saddle bronc and bareback. And then the timed events are based on fastest time wins. We got bulldogging, calf roping, team roping, barrel racing, and then newly to the pro rodeo scene is breakaway. And then in college, we also have goat tying, which is not in the pro rodeo scene, but we do it in college.
What is goat tying?
Yes, goat tying. Yeah, so it's a women's event. You basically run your horse as fast as you can down the arena and step off while the horse is running. And then you run to a goat that's staked at the end of the arena. You flip the goat on its side and you tie up 3 of its legs. And the time stops when you are done tying and you put your hands in the air.
Why only 3 legs?
So I think it's based on history. When you go to doctor an animal, you typically only need to tie up 3 legs, so they won't get away. You don't need to tie all 4. And so I think it's probably
it's going to derive from calf roping. And so the calf roping, or sometimes it's known as the tie down roping, that's another timed event. Again, fastest time wins. Basically, the cowboy is going to have a calf released into the arena, and they're sitting in a box that's just basically a corner, an L-shaped frame of wood that they have their horse backed into. And as that calf gets released into the arena, they're gonna ride up behind it, rope it, and then step off their horse, because now that calf is tethered to like the saddle, basically. and then they're going to run down the rope and they're going to flank that calf, which just means put it on its side, and then tie up the two back legs and one of the front legs. And that will, if they do a good enough job, sometimes the calf kicks free and that's a no time. So you're basically disqualified from having time at that point. But that would be enough if we were out at the ranch right now for me to walk back to my horse, grab the vaccine, grab whatever type of medicine that I needed to either doctor this calf's eye or whatever it is, and administer it to that calf.
Okay, because I was gonna ask, I brought up rodeo, and the first thing someone said is, doesn't that hurt animals? I was like, I know that this is not the view that, cowboys and cow ladies have. And so it's interesting to hear that it's specifically based on if you need to give them medical attention. And I'm
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
curious because
it.
it looks dangerous to me riding on the back of a bull, to the human
Yeah,
at least.
so obviously the back of the bull is going to be more of a if you're trying to talk about the history of rodeo, I mean, like obviously we could, and I'm going to do a poor job of it, even though I love history. But basically we're brought up being told like, okay, how did this all start? And it's, rival ranches, or just neighboring ranches, if you will, that are going to get together at certain times a year. And, I'd say it'd start with, bucking horses more than anything, but like, hey, I can stay on that horse longer than you can, type thing. Like, who can ride the buck out of this horse, better than, this other guy. And so that's how it starts. So now you're taking that and adding some, I don't know, fire to it, ego, craziness, whatever it is. Like, oh, let's do it with a bull now. Now, I personally have never gone on the back of a bull, so um, like even with my cowboy and western background, I can't even relate to the bull riders that much. Because Gianna and I have both not gone, taken it to that point, I guess. But yeah, so for someone that would say like, hey, what is the animal welfare concern with rodeo? Um, you know, it, I could have I've done some reports in college because I was animal science in college on this very topic, and if I were to go to my computer right now, I could probably quote some numbers with their sources. But the animal injury is actually very, very low. Um, obviously when it comes to the rough stock events, those animals are treated like royalty because that's really where the stock contractor, the one who provides that horse. So if you're going to get on a bucking bull or a bucking horse, you're not providing your own. Um, a rodeo contractor, someone is bringing those animals, and um, then the cowboy's drawing like out of a hat which one he's going to ride, for that night. And so the saddle bronc riders, the bucking horse riders, they're going to have favorite ones they want to ride. The harder the horse bucks, the higher the score can potentially be. And so, the stock contractor, they want to keep that horse as healthy as possible. And I mean, there's just so many instances that you can go on and find right now of them like retiring these horses, having ranches dedicated just to retired bucking horses and things like that. It's not, you know, in certain Hollywood terms of, like, oh, we're done with that one, send them to the glue factory type of thing. These horses are getting very, you know, treated very, very well.
Yeah, they're bred for it, and yeah, the more, the more cowboys that the animal bucks off, the more the stock contractor gets paid for bringing that animal. So they're wanting to take the best possible care for them. They're also, I hate to say this because it's more of a generalized statement and less facts, but they are bred to do it. It's bred in them. They're not forcing them to buck either. If they don't want to buck, you'll open that gate and they'll just stand there and they won't
You'll
buck.
find a different job
Um,
for them.
yeah, so they would become actually a riding horse probably, or something else. So these animals do, I think, really enjoy it. My point of view.
So I want to ask, because it is a timed event, is there gambling involved at all? Or kind of like with the horse shows, and the racing and everything, like can I pick a
You're
a cowboy?
As a spectator, no, there's no like, versus like horse racing. Um, I think the closest that's really come about is at the national finals rodeo. So that is, the our NFL or NBA is the PRCA, the Pro Rodeo Cowboys Association. And so our Super Bowl is the NFR, the National Finals Rodeo that happens in Las Vegas in December. And so there is like a been created these like fantasy football like um pools or things that you can like buy into and like pick a team. That's the closest thing I've ever seen to something like that. Other than that, you as the competitor at the professional and even collegiate level um are putting your money up to enter that rodeo. And then there's a lot of times added money or sponsored money um for these rodeos. Some have bigger than others. And so you hope to obviously win that. First, second, third, however many are entered might determine how many places get paid.
And then
think
there's also Calcuttas. They kind of do those at like barrel races and like smaller events, but they've done them at some pro rodeos where they kind of auction off a certain team of cowboys, similar to like the fantasy football type situation. And whoever scores the highest or is the fastest, that person wins like all the money in the pot, basically. That bought the team.
Spectator that bottom, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna look more into that one because that sounds fun. I'm one of those people that I'm like, if it's kind of like the Super Bowl. You put in, you fill out the square and everything. It makes it a
Yeah.
lot more exciting when you're rooting for
Definitely.
something that you can,
Yeah.
somehow benefit off of. Though the history in Humboldt County of rodeo is pretty deep. I'm not sure what year the Fortuna Rodeo is in right now, though it's a little surprising that. So is this the first rendition of a rodeo program at the colleges?
Yeah, I can take that one. Yeah, it is. And this all, came to in part, the local area and rodeo is very popular um and there are college programs that obviously operate intercollegiate programs throughout not only the state of California, but throughout the nation. And here in California at our level, which is the junior college, community college level, um, there were programs that are regional for that are taking place between Feather River College and Lassen College and West Hills and some of the others that certainly sparked our interest because of the reasonable distance to be able to travel to these rodeos and also compete with some of our rivals that we're used to in other sports. And so the whole idea of getting it going and knowing that it was popular within the community did start, like you'd said, about back in 2019. And it was a collaboration through uh, us and Cal Poly Humboldt. And and it really sort of hit the ground running, and we thought we were going to get it going up within the year or two after that. But then unfortunately the COVID pandemic came and kind of put a delay on a lot of things for us, and some uncertainty at the collegiate level for a lot of athletics. And so with that being held back, it was certainly something that we had to sort of reconsider, and yet the dream and the desire to want to move forward with it once we got back into full competition with all of our other sports was still there. And so it was about I would say 6 month to a year process, starting again back in about 2023, where us and some collaboration with Humboldt as well, and our presidents at the time desire to move forward, that we continued the process. I myself did a little bit of research from our other community colleges that are involved in rodeo currently to really sort of see what it takes to get it together, and sort of what the next steps are. The biggest difference is the fact that we're in rodeo. You're not governed by our typical what's called 3C2A conference, which is what all of our other sports are governed by. And so in the intercollegiate part for rodeo, it's the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association, which is unique. And like Kelly and Gianna both referenced to earlier, like competitors have the opportunity to win prize money and be involved in a variety of different ways by which how the sport is governed, as opposed to maybe a typical collegiate athlete. So that's, I think, probably the biggest difference, and was new to myself as far as learning that process of that and speaking to other athletic directors too who do have programs. But it also is something that is extraordinarily popular, and again, in this area. And so it was something that we wanted to continue to forge forward with, and and happily, I can say myself, and being able to hire Kelly and Gianna as our coaches are for the inaugural part of the program about 6 months ago, and looking forward to competition here in this next year of fall 25. It was really sort of an exciting time, and now it's all kind of coming to fruition, and we're looking forward to the course of these next few months. And like they had mentioned, some of the recruits that they have already, that was the goal I gave them, was once we got them hired, was we quickly sort of said, okay, here's the deal with what happens with college athletics, is you got to get out and recruit the athletes to show that that we're serious about this. And they've done a great job initially here with getting some commits to the college. And we really do indeed look forward to not only developing the program, but building it, and soon hosting our own rodeos.
Absolutely. We're so excited, Bob. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for thinking of us too.
So you mentioned the 3C2A, which I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
That's for other programs. So what would
it is that's what was unique.
Exactly?
Yeah, the 3C, it's the California Community College Athletic Association, and that governs most all of community college intercollegiate sports at the community college level in California, in the state of California. California is so large that we have our own association. Most all of other associations at our level are governed by what's called the NJCAA, which is the National Junior College Athletic Association. And so California is kind of unique in its own way, again, because there's so many community colleges in the state, and we compete in that way. And that applies to all of our traditional sports, in the sense of, our basketballs, baseball, softballs, volleyball, football, those types of things. They may have different conferences, and they may play in different levels depending on where the competition is and the size of the institutions and things like that. So what's unique about rodeo, it's not governed by the 3C2A. It's not a 3C2A sport, but it is indeed an intercollegiate sport that is sponsored at the junior college level, the 4-year level, and beyond. And what's great about it is, when we get into competition, in many cases, we will be in rodeos with other 4-year athletes, potentially at 4-year institutions. And so that was really exciting for us to be able to do that. And then again, that's kind of went into the learning curve for myself of trying to figure out how all that works. And again, had great feedback from a variety of different athletic directors at community college here in California that have programs, that gave me the input on how exactly it needs to work, and within the governance of the and National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association, which we became a part of this past year, to host the program. And so that's really the difference between the 3C2A, but it follows some similar guidelines, in the sense of that students are expected to be enrolled full-time in academics. And
I do want to talk about the student experience with the program, and we'll do that right after this quick break. You're listening to Thursday Night Talk. Welcome back to Thursday Night Talk. I'm Talvi Freed, your host for the evening, and I am talking to Kelly O'Day, Gianna O'Day, and Bob Brown, all involved with the College of the Redwoods rodeo program, Kelly and Gianna being coaches and Bob Brown being the athletic director for the entire school. So we were discussing quite a bit before the break. We talked a little bit about the history and then what I guess what the program is and how it came to be. I do want to ask about the student experience being in the rodeo program, which I have quite a few questions about it. So I'm gonna just kind of shoot this out there, and everyone can kind of talk about it for a minute. Which it's what does the rodeo program really entail? Because it's a sport, so it's not a degree. It's not a degree to get, which like a lot of like football players will also get into, they'll get their degree in business or, I know somehow basketball players get into sports medicine a lot of times, and volleyball players. I don't know why that happened, but it seems to be a thing. What would the co-degree kind of be for a student going for a rodeo program? Would it be animal husbandry? Would it be, livestock care? I don't know what that is really. So I don't know what it would be called. I mean, and
Yeah, literally any of them. So just like any sport, you're gonna have your area of focus, curriculum wise, and then get your degree in, at a 4-year college, you're getting your bachelor's degree. So mine was in animal science. Gianna's is in engineering. But we were both on Cal Poly San Luis Obispo's rodeo team, right? And so that's where we met and got together was in college. And then, the big thing we had in common beyond being, at that school or is the rodeo team. So we wouldn't have met in our majors necessarily. You know,
It's I mean,
uh,
the athlete experience is pretty unique for college rodeo because it's the only time where it's an actual team and less of an individual sport. The only event in rodeo where you're a team is team roping, and it's only two people. And so the actual student experience to be on a rodeo team is pretty special because it's one of the only times in your rodeo life that you'll all be in one place. You'll be able to work out together, condition together, practice together. And so that's pretty special. And along the lines of what Kelly was saying, I mean, we had people go become doctors. We know people that are, in sports medicine. We know people that are in business. In animal science, we know people that are vets. We know people that are ranchers. I mean, it's very diverse. But there is a strong agricultural route there. So I think at a junior college, it would be really helpful to get our ag programs going at CR. And that's definitely something that we, discussed with Bob. And I think CR is really on board with having some more agricultural based programs. But at a junior college, it's, you're primarily getting your associates to hopefully move on to further education for your institute. So
Yeah, and I would just add the similarity to other sports is any college athlete that shows up. I'm just going to give the example myself. I came from Canada, and my tie to rodeo was I was born and raised in Calgary, Alberta, which is where the Calgary Stampede is pretty famous, and I see them smiling right now because greatest outdoor show on earth and the biggest rodeo going. So, although I never rodeoed myself personally, but when I came to the U.S., a lot of the desire is to you think about the sport that you're passionate about, and you see that as much in any sport as you see. So that's a commonality with rodeo athletes as well. And as far as I think also the desire to be at the plate and compete at the highest level that you can, I think that's a very stark similarity with them, with many college athletes. If you're able to get to the collegiate athletic level, you've had some success and you have a certain desire and passion to continue, and you have a work ethic that is important. And I think that's synonymous amongst any sport, including rodeo and any other that we may offer here at the college. And I appreciate what Kelly and Gianna both said with regards to our ag program. Our ag program is strong here at CR, and this is an opportunity by bringing on rodeo to expand that even further for students that are potentially interested in ag science or any degree. They're going to get the opportunity to be able to not only compete, but be able to get that associates, and if they choose to transfer or if they're using it for work related reasons, it ties in really, really well with what we offer here at CR. And and even the members that are going to be a part of our advisory committee, a couple of them are tied directly to CR, and can really help bolster what we're planning on doing here in the future. So there's a lot of similarities with the variety of sports as far as how an athlete may perceive it and think it. I think the biggest difference is that you're going to see is just the uniqueness of the sport that they're actually competing in.
So you
Yeah.
spoke about. Oh,
Go ahead, Talvi. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Absolutely. And I think that it already shows with the athletes that we already have committing. They're also diverse. I mean, one of them's interested in the fire academy or paramedics. One was interested in being a police dispatcher. Another was interested in, I think it was accounting. So in all things that CR already offers, and so it's a great school to be at just because of that.
You had mentioned recruitment earlier and the importance of recruitment for any college or university, because without students participating in these programs, there'd be no reason to have them. What does recruitment look like? Who would be eligible, and are there scholarships for this?
So,
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
okay, quick, Ellen, and then I'll let you guys sort of tie into the type of athlete that you're looking for. Community college is a little different than the four-year level, obviously, in the sense of that California Community College does not offer per se athletic scholarships to come into the institution. What it does do, though, is certainly, if they're California residents, community college can be free of charge based off of your financial aid needs and or a California Promise Grant. And so in many ways, that's our scholarship, right? The opportunity to get entered into a community college setting. And we also have an Oregon exchange for Oregon residents and things like that. So basically what it is it's, creating that environment of what student athletes may be best to target, and then also expanding that outward throughout the entire nation, because there's a variety of opportunities of which students, again, when they come here, if they're successful, not only can they get their degree, but then they can move on to that next year level and potentially obtain a form of an athletic type scholarship. CR also offers plenty of academic scholarship offerings if students qualify. And so in many ways, although there's not the perceived athletic scholarships like there are at the four-year level or Division I level, there's plenty of opportunities for students to still make it completely affordable to be here. I think what's also unique about CR is that we have student housing. So for our out of area students that may want to be interested in coming in and participating in rodeo, we have housing that's available, and that's unique to the community college level at CR. There's not very many of us that have student housing, and so that makes it a good draw for us as well. And then finally, I would say that I think overall the student experience here at CR is is a really unique one. We have a very supportive community. We have a very supportive administration and board of trustees, and it's that combined with our other sports programs and how they're represented. This community it's very unique. It's one of the main reasons why I've stayed at CR for 29 years myself. Is they support your athletic programs, and they show up and they donate and they sponsor, and they're very driven to make it successful, and that kind of energy is infectious, and we know that the student athletes, like I say, that both Kelly and Gianna are targeting, are going to be excited about that. And then, along with that, we're going to learn some of the opportunities that also can come along. Again, the uniqueness of it, of not only students potentially being able to earn prize money, and other things by which we can support through our foundation and our director, Marty Coelho, are exciting to me. And so I fully intend that not only will it be a great base of students that can come in, but it has a great opportunity to grow as well.
Yeah. And the types of students we're looking for is, anyone either senior in high school, junior in high school, who, I mean, we're definitely targeting people within our area first, but then also anyone that already competes in rodeo, already knows what it's about, and wants to get their associate's degree, and is excited and wants to get better. It's definitely a trait that I know Kelly and I, we always say, we like to refine our craft, I think is how Kelly puts in. So we like to just get better and better, even if it's just a little bit every day. So just someone who's, willing to put the work in. Additionally, I hope through our, eventually we'll set up a rodeo boosters program. And I think through that avenue, we'll be able to provide some additional sport support, similar to a scholarship, for the extra expenses, horse feed, horse stalling, travel money, and things like that. And I don't know if Kelly, you have anything to add?
Yeah, so what's probably not known, if anybody's listening that isn't familiar with rodeos, high school rodeo is out there as well. So it's not difficult to necessarily find students that would be prime candidates for this, right? And so we're a new program. We're a college. It's yes, there's transfers out there that could be had, but obviously, if we're trying to start in the fall of 2025, then a high school senior is who we're looking at first. And so there are many. This is one of the largest states for high school rodeo, California. And so there's a lot of high school rodeo students that are getting ready to graduate this spring. So that's who we're looking at. But like Gianna had mentioned before, college is unique because it's the only time there's a team aspect of the rodeo. High school rodeo is very independent still. You have your district that you do your majority of your rodeos in throughout the year, and then whoever's in the top 5 for their event in the district gets to go on to the state finals for California. And so District 2 for high school rodeo is what we're in here. It stretches all the way from Crescent City down past Sonoma, and then right about I-5, I think is where it turns into District 1, going east. But that's, through word of mouth. I teach at Ferndale High School. There's a student here at Ferndale High that steer wrestles. That's my event that I, competed in. And I just basically said, hey, we're starting a rodeo team. He's a senior. I said, we're starting a rodeo team at College of the Redwoods. Get the word out, right? And so we have not done any like formal effort to recruit. But we've had a lot of success just word of mouth right now of getting phone calls in from student athletes in that district, and so that's been all of our recruits have been District 2 for high school rodeo.
It definitely helps too that Kelly and I are both District 2. I guess the word alumni, alumni. And so I think we're well known in the community in that aspect. And so as you start spreading the word, they're like, oh, Kelly and Gianna, oh, didn't they rodeo for District 2? Oh, okay, cool. That kind of thing is happening. And there's a lot of District 2 seniors this year. I think there's upwards of 20. And so that's exciting to have a large number to pull from.
How many students do you need in the program, or how many can it hold?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
go ahead.
can. Yeah, that's a tough number. So Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, again, that's our college rodeo experience. 4-year college. 4-year colleges compete right along with junior colleges. When we go to these rodeos throughout the year, we had upwards to 80 people wearing the vest. The vest is kind of like our uniform. So each college rodeo you go to, you wear a vest over whatever outfit you're already wearing to compete in. But there is a team points aspect to it, and it's kind of hard to explain. I didn't wrestle in high school, but how I understand is, like wrestling is an individual sport, but you also have a team. So it's like the greatest, like comparison I can try to make. And so, individuals will earn points for the team. How college rodeo does it is even though you can have 80 people on the team and they can all individually win their events, there is 6 boys representing the 6 men events and 4 women representing the 4 women's events. And so if you wanted to have like a full team that could max out the amount of points you could potentially get, you would have at least 6 men on the team and 4 women. We have 2 men committed right now. Gianna's got a lot more girls committed. So she's kind of kicking my butt there when it comes to the, recruiting for the men's side versus the women's side. But you'll also notice that the high school and collegiate level, there just is a lot more women in rodeo.
Why? Okay, I would not have expected that whatsoever. What would the reasoning
Why is that?
be behind that? Yeah, that's a deep
I mean,
look into something, but if
I have my
there's
theories.
I would love to hear a
But
theory
go
on
ahead, Gianna. I would before I
Your theories.
yeah.
I think, well, one of the most popular women's events is barrel racing, and it can be competed on at like so many levels. And so because of that, I think that you're going to get there's just a lot more women that barrel race, as opposed to in the men's event. They don't really have a particular event, maybe other than like bull riding, that has such a large following outside of the rodeo itself. And so I think you're going to get a lot of, but bull riding, on the other hand, you're not going to get a lot of men to select that event, whereas barrel racing is pretty, hopefully user friendly, a little less injury prone. So maybe
That's what I was
one
gonna
reason.
say. So I'm glad she said it. This you know, all but really 1 or 2 of the men events, like you really putting your body on the line, and not that, some of the women's events. I mean, there is a huge inherent risk with getting on a horse and working with an 1,200-pound animal, regardless of who you are. But when it comes to the actual event itself, like isolating that, um, it's gladiator stuff out there sometimes with the men events. And so I think sometimes for the women's events, it's a little easier to enter. And I don't know, women love horses. They want to
I
ride.
was
They
I
want
was
to
thinking
compete.
that. I was like, oh, the women horse trope. It's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We're gonna take a real quick break, and we will be right back. I think I kind of want to get into the competition aspect a little bit afterwards, just what that means, because I'm curious about some things. So you're listening to Thursday Night Talk. We're talking about the College of the Redwoods rodeo program, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Thursday Night Talk. I'm your local host, Talvi Freed. I am here with Kelly O'Day and Gianna O'Day. They are the new coaches of the College of the Redwoods Rodeo program, and Bob Brown, who is the College of the Redwoods athletic director. We've been talking about rodeo. What else? With this panel of experts on rodeo. Well, and Bob.
Yeah,
Just
and
kidding.
Bob, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yes, but expert on athletic director.
There you go.
Soon to be rodeo expert,
Soon
whether
to
he
be
likes it or
rodeo
not.
expert. Yes, I'm working my way through. Well, the thing that excited me, what you said before the break, was as many as 80 athletes can compete. And so I tell you what, if you two can roll in 80 athletes, the college is going to be more than excited about where we're going in the direction. But more so than anything, it's interesting to hear the coach's take on where the interest level comes and how to develop and begin that program, because they are the experts, and that's the piece for us that we were so excited about, to be able to bring both of them on board, is their history, and obviously Cal Poly San Luis Obispo has a great history in rodeo. So we know that not only the connections that they have here locally, but how they can work with a variety of athletes that may be able to come in and compete in a variety of our events, is really what excites us moving forward. And I know they're already doing a great job in being able to have some commits before we've even started. And so, moving forward, we know that under their leadership, it's going to be a great program.
Well, it seems like that's been a huge topic of debate over the years for both College of the Redwoods and Cal Poly Humboldt, which is recruitment of students and retention of students. So I don't know. I wish I had somebody from Cal Poly Humboldt here to also discuss the program that's happening there, because I know
Sure.
that the goal is essentially to transfer over there. Typically, I'm sure not everyone will do that. That might not be in their life plans, but typically that's the goal, to go to, you go to community college, then you go to university or a Cal Polytech. And I'm curious first, so Cal Poly is going to be competing against the College of the Redwoods students, which means that CR can totally win over Cal Poly.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Again, unique in the sense of that, you're competing against each other, as opposed to like a 2-year, like we wouldn't play Cal Poly Humboldt in basketball per se, or volleyball, some of those other sports, because they're in a higher division, other than like a scrimmage type thing. Um, but yeah, Nick Pettit, the athletic director over at Humboldt, he and I certainly have had some conversations about this pursuit. The biggest difference between what we're doing and what maybe Cal Poly is going to pursue, is we are competing at the intercollegiate level, and we hope to again sponsor not only our athletes in that way, but also help fund in that way. And Nick would be much better to speak to this than I, as far as Cal Poly, but they're planning on running the program at a club level. And they themselves are also going to identify a coach, and I think there'll be certainly some collaboration as far as potentially some advisory folks, and even use of practice facilities and things like that. There's certainly going to be some involvement with them, but we are our own unique program, and so as far as how we continue to build and operate and expand, and within that will be the difference. But absolutely, as we were talking about earlier, as far as academically, if there's someone that's looking to transfer to a 4-year institution and wants to continue to compete, Cal Poly could be a great opportunity for them. And even like Kelly and Gianna are talking about Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, where they came from. The goal is to have student athletes not only continue to compete in rodeo, but also to continue their education. I'm sure Gianna and Kelly would both tell you that, and I would tell you, as far as from any sports, as a former baseball coach, and having baseball athletes, I used to tell my guys all the time that, I'd love to see all of you make the big leagues, and that you guys would give me free season tickets once you make it. But the reality is that, less than 1% of all college athletes make it to professional athletics. And I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are in rodeo. So the importance of them getting their education and following through with that, and really giving the opportunity to enjoy the experience while they are in collegiate athletics, but also set themselves up. And in many ways, like myself, as a former college athlete, being able to give back on the educational level to students is really important. And I know, that's the thing that intrigues me too about both Kelly and Gianna, is that they come from very successful programs at the collegiate level. They both have got their degrees and are successful, and really have that mindset to be able to give the opportunity back to younger student athletes that are coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think having a successful program at CR is only going to help Cal Poly, along with what you were saying, Talvi, is that, we, as these students go through this program, they will hopefully go to Cal Poly Humboldt. But not only that, is that, rodeo is such a small world. We're all going to be helping each other out. I think, Shane Radlfinger is going to try to help Cal Poly Humboldt and maybe act as a coach for this coming year. And no doubt we are going to be working with him and whoever else within the community to hopefully make both of them successful, both CR and Cal Poly.
I think one of the greatest analogies for um, the sportsmanship difference in rodeo, or the collaboration, however we want to say it, is the event that I kind of singled out as to make my own, and that's the steer wrestling, or referred to as bulldogging. You're basically no rope involved, but you're on a horse and you run down a steer going 9-0, slide off your horse onto that steer's back, basically just jump on, grabbing the steer by the horns, and then throwing them to the ground when all four legs are up in the air from that wrestling match. Your time stops, fastest time wins. That requires a second person. They're not on your team or a competitor. They don't get recognized, but they have to line that steer out. So when you jump, like, they're on the other side, so that steer doesn't just stop and move right, and fall and hit the ground. So they got to keep that steer running in the right direction. They call it the hazer. That hazer is usually another competitor. It's like somebody that just made a run before you. They could have the fastest time right now. They could be winning the rodeo, and they're gonna go get on their horse and help you try to beat their time, right? And that's gonna be across all events. Gianna's event, she's gonna breakaway roping. She's gonna back in the box and try to rope this calf as quickly as possible. Um, you're gonna have somebody like making sure her horse's head is straight and helping her in the box. That person is rarely somebody Gianna brought. They're usually a competitor that's also competing that night in the rodeo, and then she's gonna get off her horse and do the exact same. So there will always be the fun rivalry of, like, okay, CR scored more points than Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, or Cal Poly Humboldt, or whoever. But the likelihood is that somebody from, West Hills College or University of Las Vegas is going to be hazing for my Bulldogger and trying to help him win. So that's very, very unique in this sport. And I don't think I can really draw too much of a comparison to any other sport. Maybe something in track and field. I don't know.
And then another thing along with the sportsmanship is that in rodeo, it's you lose a lot more than you win. Because you're competing, say, for example, in the barrel racing, say there's 100 barrel racers. Well, only one out of 100 can win. Whereas opposed to a soccer game, you have, 10 people on the field on either team. Well, the whole roster wins on one side and the other team loses it. So it's, you only have, yeah, I think you understand what I'm saying. It's definitely a humbling sport, I guess, my point.
So before we get into the round robin, I wanted to ask one more question that's just been on my mind this whole time. And speaking of supporting characters, I think this is a good time to bring it up. And that is rodeo clowns. Is there space at the college for those who aspire to be a rodeo clown? And I feel like this is a role that I hear of all the time, and it might be a movie trope, but please tell me about that. I can still fulfill my dream.
Yeah, yes and no. Um, so I think rodeo clown is going to be an older term. In the rodeo world, we're going to call them a barrel man. And they um do two major things. One is if you go to any other sport in the world, NFL game, baseball, basketball, whatever, the announcer does not play as vital of a role or as entertaining of a role as they are going to at a rodeo. So the best announcers in the world are going to be the rodeo announcers at interacting with the crowd at like a very constant level. Okay. So the dynamic is usually going to be that the announcer is going to be keeping the show timely, running, you informed and you entertained, yes, and then you're going to have this barrel man that kind of riffs off of him, and is more of the, happy-go-lucky, funny guy. The second thing that barrel man does is without by just like supporting the rodeo. And yes, they usually going to have like paint on their face, or and they're going to be dressed pretty silly, but they're a bullfighter. And so in the bull riding event specifically, that clown or barrel man is going to roll out a barrel, and they're kind of using that as their matador cape. But if that bull bucks its rider off and that rider hits the ground and they're in a compromising position, that barrel man's going to get in between the bull and the bullfighter because he's on his feet, he can move better. He's going to try to get that bull to change directions. The bull doesn't necessarily know his job's done, uh, you know, and his energy's still going. And so if he gives you a love tap with his horns or his head or any part of his body, it'll send that 125-pound bull rider, you know, flying quite far across the arena. So,
And I would just say too that most bull riders, bull riders, clowns, most rodeo entertainers, I think is even the more new term for them. They have competed in the past. It's like something that they competed for a long time, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, I want to do that. I think that'd be fun to try, and they start doing it, and pretty soon it's their knack, and they keep the crowd really entertained, and everyone loves them, and they're charismatic, and you see them throwing footballs to the crowd, or they have games during the rodeo
dancing,
performance,
yeah.
all kinds of things. So I think
I'm very glad I asked that question, even though it did eat into all of your time for the round robin. Though everyone gets about a minute and a half to 2 minutes now because I had to ask about clowns. So worth it to me though. So let's start off with Kelly. So round robin is you just get a minute and a half to 2 minutes, talk about whatever you want listeners at home or who are driving in their car to take with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, why are we excited? I'm from Humboldt County here. My family has a long line. We have a beef cattle ranch here that great grandparents, started way back when. Rodeo and the cattle business is huge in our county, whether you're aware of it or not, no matter what your job is. Rodeo is just part of that lifestyle. It is our competition, and it's our sport. It's very, very popular at the college level, and especially more at the professional level. So, if you're in Humboldt County, there's no way that you have not heard of a rodeo. There's no way you've not heard of a cowboy. And so get excited to see our host a rodeo that is going to host all these other college athletes, the 80 college athletes that Cal Poly San Luis Obispo is going to bring, the 60 that Fresno State's going to bring, or the 50 that UNLV is going to bring, whatever that number is. They're going to be coming to our town to compete for the gold. So that could have been 30 seconds, that could have been a minute, I don't know, but that is
Thank you so
what
much.
I'm excited for.
Let's Gianna, you got your minute and a half, 2 minutes, at
yeah,
least 2 minutes.
yeah. Sounds good. Well, I'll be honest, I was a little nervous. I didn't really know what we were getting into here tonight. And well, thank you for making this a very positive experience, Talvi, and me, and asking us good questions to keep us all entertained. But I think just anyone who's interested in the program wants to learn more, I just encourage them to reach out to Kelly, myself, or Bob. I believe our contact information or our phone numbers are on the CR's website. But I'm excited. I'm super, super excited to be a part of this community and to bring rodeo, not back to Humboldt County because it's always been here, but just reinforce that culture in our community, because I think it's a great opportunity for high school students to stay involved locally at a college level.
Educated.
Yeah.
Awesome. Bob?
So yeah, thanks for again having us, and I'll just wrap it up by saying that I'm extremely excited about where this program can go. Like Kelly mentioned, there is a very strong rodeo community here in Humboldt, and we only look to continue to build that, not only through the support of the community, but also, you know, the recruitment of these young athletes and providing them opportunities. I think the biggest thing that we also can share with the community is not only the opportunity when we're hosting rodeos, to bring in a lot of business to the local economy as well, which I think is going to be a great benefit to everyone to get on board with that, and it just adds a whole nother layer that you know that goes on with the events that do take place here in Humboldt County. And you know, I'll wrap up by saying that as intriguing as it was to hear about your questions with regards to the rodeo clown or being a barrel man, that will not be me anytime soon. But I certainly do think I got a couple of people in our department that might be willing to sign up for it if need be. So
awesome. How would, let's say there's a kid out there right now, a quick question, and they are interested, that maybe they've never done rodeo before, maybe they're, you know, a 40-ish person that has never done rodeo, but they're interested in it. How would they get involved?
Yeah, certainly they can go on, as Gianna mentioned, we do have the rodeo webpage on our College of the Redwoods website, www.redwoods.edu, and they just go to the athletics pages, and it'll have their contact information. They can also email me at any time, and I can get them directly connected at bob-brown@redwoods.edu. And that will definitely get them connected. They can call our athletic department, and we will make sure that they are connected to our coaches.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's about all the time that we have today. Thank you to our panel, Kelly O'Day and Gianna O'Day, rodeo coaches. I mean, that's kind of one of the coolest things you can ever say in your life, is that, like, you're real, you know, you're a real cowboy and cow lady. And that's kind of cool. You two may be some of the coolest people I've ever encountered on this show. No offense to anybody else, but do you have any of my other panelists ridden a bull or done barrel racing? I doubt it. So thank you both for being on the show, and thank you to Bob Brown, College of the Redwoods Athletic Director. Maybe I can have you again on another show, and we can talk about the athletic program at College of the Redwoods, because there's a lot going on there, not just about rodeo. It seems to be expanding, as well as Cal Poly. So that is awesome. What a great asset to our community that is. So thank you for being on the show. I'll see you next week with another Thursday Night Talk. If you have topics or suggestions for this show, please email us at kczh@accesshumboldt.net. And fun reminder, this show replays Friday evenings at 8 p.m. right here on KCZH 96.7 FM. You can also watch this show on the Access Humboldt's YouTube channel, as well as on our Access Humboldt cable TV stations throughout the weekend. That's all for tonight. All right, I'll see you next time. Talvi free. Check it out.